Oh, hey, it's RKA, and that was my best impression of a blank face. This is like the blank screen, a blank screen, if it was just my face. Am I getting it? Am I rocking the blank look? The blank. This is all about blank screens today, guys. How about awkwardness? Let's give a 3 cheers for awkward marketing. It is episode 23 of awkward marketing, and that was just about as awkward of an intro as you could get. But here I am, folks. I'm back from vacay. I'm feeling a little bit discombobulated, and I'm super excited to be here with you today for another episode of Awkward Marketing. And today, the name of the game is all about when you're feeling uninspired, when you're staring at that blank screen, and when you're the mayor of Blank Screen City, and you can't come up with a damn thing to say on your blog, to share with your people, to create content about. How do you keep creating content that resonates and lands with your audience? I mean, we've all been there, right? We're staring at a blank screen. We can't come up with anything. We know we got to create content for the old blogger blog, and we got nothing to say. I mean, I've sat there in front of a screen for hours at a time trying to come up with content that's going to land and not waste my time and my readers. And so that's what I'm talking about today. I got 4 ways to bust past your writer's block and to create content that actually lands. So I'm just going to head into it. And today I'm doing something totally crazy. I am trying to broadcast live on Instagram at the same time that I'm broadcasting live on Facebook. But I haven't clicked go yet. So let me do that right now. It's going on. I'm going live, doing the damn thing. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm live. Here I am, Instagram. How you doing? All right. It's another episode of Awkward Marketing. We're talking about how to bust past a blank screen so you can create content that actually lands with people. Because, I mean, you could always create just filler content that means nothing to people, right? But we want to be using your time in the best way possible. So that's what we're talking about today. So I got 4 ways to bust past writer's block. Heather's here. So glad to see you. And all right, let's just hit it. My number one way to create content that resonates even when you're looking at a blank screen, and that is to survey what are your clients always saying, always repeating, always asking you about. This is fertile ground for finding some amazing content that's gonna land with people. So I'll give you a little example of how I've applied this in my own biz. All right, every once in a while I will kind of take stock of my quote forms, my application forms. When someone comes in to start working with me, I have them fill out a little application form. If you're curious about what that looks like, you can go to rkaink.com/quote, and you will be taken to my application form. You can also just go to rkaink.com, and it's there everywhere. You can't miss it. I say, work with me, and that's where you're taken. And so every once in a while, I'll take stock of the answers that I've received in this quote form. And this is one of the reasons I'm not doing like a typical quote form that you'll see with, what's your name, what's your phone number, what's your email, how can I help you? That's not enough information, folks. And little aside here, I like to have my application form be a little bit longer than my competitors because it's one way I can kind of pre-qualify people to see if they're serious. There's a lot of folks out there who are price shopping. They just want to know how much it's going to cost. Well, spoiler alert, I don't tell people how much it's going to cost up front because I don't know yet. Because every single project that I do is different. So there isn't just a one-size-fits-all price. So if someone goes and takes the time to go through my quote form, I'm sorry, I don't give them that immediate gratification of giving them a number. That application form is my way of getting to know them better, qualifying to see if they're really serious or if they're just price shopping. So I'll go and I'll take stock of all of the answers that I've received for the last year, for the last 6 months, and see where I can find the patterns. Heather says it's all about those initial questions, and she's so right. You can tell so much about someone, how they answer the first questions that you give them. And I can tell, once in a while I'll get a quote form where I can see that someone has phoned it in. Like they're just like going real fast through the questions. They're not answering in depth. And I know pretty much right then and there that this is probably not someone I'm going to be working with. I can just tell right away. So anyway, back to creating content out of your quote form. So I'll go back and I'll take stock of what are the patterns that I'm seeing. a couple of years ago, or actually no, not a couple of years. It feels like so long. Last year, I wrote a blog called You Don't Want Marie Forleo's Website. Now, we all know Marie Forleo's website is divine, right? It's gorgeous. So in that sense, who wouldn't want her website? And yet, this is the reason that I wrote that blog, was because I was seeing every other person who came through my quote form was listing her site as one of their favorite sites. So when I saw that pattern, I was like, hey, there's something's up here. So many people who are my ideal client are really attracted to Marie Forleo's branding. This is an opportunity to create some content that's going to resonate with my audience. So that's the first thing I want to give you, is you want to look at the patterns of what your clients or your prospective clients are saying, are asking, are talking about, are ranting about. That's another thing that I like. And I'll get to that actually in a couple of minutes with number 3. But, the first great place for finding content is going to be right there with your clients. What are they saying again and again? What are they wrestling with again and again? That's number 1. All right. My number 2 way to create content when you're looking at a blank screen, content that lands, content that resonates, is what are you always saying again and again and again? So if you find yourself repeating the same lesson, the same little spiel, like for example, I get folks all the time, and actually this is good. This is a good one. I've kind of addressed this actually in my shows, in my awkward marketing episodes, but I haven't really written a blog about this. So I've got to take my own advice. And that is, I see people all the time, my clients are constantly complaining about how their reach has gone down on Facebook, but since in the last few years, the algorithm has changed. And of course, Facebook is privileging people who pay for advertising. So I can't tell you how many times I've had a client come to me ranting about that. And then I kind of have this, my pat response. I've got a response to that I've said again and again and again and again. I repeat it to almost every single client that I work with. And so that, I've done it Facebook Live about that. Probably should turn that into a blog. I know I'm behind on that. Oh God, I got to walk my talk. But that is, a really great example of content that I know is going to land, because I'm already having these conversations all the time with clients. I'm already bringing this value to clients. I'm repeating myself. I could give this spiel in my sleep. And so I know that this is going to be ripe territory for some really great content. Another example of this is, stock photos. I have clients coming to me all the time. Where do you get your stock photos? How can I find great free stock photos? And so I created a blog out of that. My 14 favorite sources for free stock photos. I've got a blog about that. And if you're like, where are all these amazing resources that you reference? They are on my blog, and I've got a little cheat sheet for you. Go to rkinc.com/content. I got a little cheat sheet. And I link to all the blogs that I talk about today, as well as I give you some really good ideas and brainstorms for how you can come up with content when you're feeling blocked. So rkinc.com/content. Check her out. She's there for ya. So that's number 2. My number 2 way to kind of come up with content when you're feeling blocked is to think about, okay, what am I saying to my people over and over again? What am I teaching so many times that I could say it in my sleep? That's another awesome way to create great content. Okay, number 3. You want to go where the conversations are already happening. Now, this is a tip I'm nabbing from one of my favorite online business managers, VAs, Sophia Garces of Tiger Cat Studios. And when she talks to her clients about creating content, she recommends that you go to Facebook groups. Go where the conversations are already happening, whether it be a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, maybe you're part of an Instagram pod. I don't know, maybe you're on co-commercial. Go to those places where people are already congregating and having conversations, and pay attention to what they're talking about. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here, folks. Facebook groups are such an amazing fount of information and inspiration, because you can see, and here's my trick. I like to pay attention to what are people pissed about? What are people ranting about? What are people having big, angry conversations about? That's an amazing way, amazing little hot topic to zone in on. People care about this topic. If they're pissed about it and they're having angry conversations within Facebook groups about it, they're so much more likely to click on that topic when it scrolls through their feed in terms of a blog or a vlog or a podcast. And so you want to go and check out where people are getting like super emotional, and actually the Facebook topic that I referenced before about people being pissed that they're getting less engagement on Facebook than they used to before it was pay to play. That's another one where it was like my clients were complaining about it. People in my Facebook groups were complaining about it. So I knew that was a topic that was really going to land with people. So that's my third tip. Go to the groups that you're a part of. Go to where the conversations are already happening and pay attention to what people are saying there, specifically what makes them mad, because they're totally emotional about this. They care about this, and they're more likely to want to engage with content that potentially answers that question, solves that problem, and helps them navigate that frustration. So yes. And R&R at home says she loves my cheat sheets as much as skimming and scanning. Hey, I got that one on the first try. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to go back to the last episode, because that's all I'll say about that. Okay, so here's my fourth tip. This is the final tip for brainstorming content ideas when you've got a blank screen. And this is going to be, okay, I've said the number one tip is what are your clients saying? Number two is, what are you always saying again and again and again and again? Number three, what are people saying in Facebook groups and in online groups? What are they mad about? What are they talking about? What's happening already in the conversation? Number four is, what are they not saying? And this is all about other people in your industry. So I want you to go creep around and check out, what are other people in your industry writing about? So again, this is all about, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's nothing new under the sun. We know that. So it's not about creating a brand new topic out of your butt, like from nowhere. It's all about, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can find newness in tried and true topics that you've seen again and again and again. So you want to go and look, other people in your industry, what are they writing about? What are they talking about? What are they vlogging and podcasting and other inging about? And you want to go and pay attention to where the holes are in their analysis, in their breakdown, in their teaching. What are they not saying? What are they leaving out? Where are they leaving you an opening to come in and be like, okay, here's my top 5 things that no one else in my industry is saying. That's a blog post right now, right there. And so you want to pay attention to what are other people in your industry talking about, and what are they not talking about? Well, and this is awesome, because this is your way, this is how you can set yourself apart. This is how you can innovate. An example that I can use for myself would be, all right, so lots of people in the online marketing space, lots of people in the online business space love to talk about 6 figures this and 6 figure that. How do you make 6 figures? I had a 6 figure minute. Last, like 4 seconds ago, I made 6 figures while I blinked my eyes. It's 6 figure this and 6 figure that. But when I took kind of a survey of what was being written and talked about and podcasted about when it comes to 6-figure businesses, what I wasn't seeing is kind of the dark side of that, the untold story of the 6 figures. So I ended up writing an article about what my competitors and other people in my industry weren't talking about, which is this, sure, you can have a 6-figure year, but what about your overhead? What about your margins? Are you actually profitable? You might be able to say, oh yeah, I've made 6, 7 figures, but let's talk about that bottom line. So I wrote a blog post all about I think it was called, I had a 6-figure year and all I got was this lousy blog post. And my approach there was to talk about something that nobody else, or that I at least wasn't seeing, talked about that often in my industry, which was kind of like the true story of 6 figures, or how you can make 6 figures and still not actually be a success. And so that was my kind of way of reinventing a really tired topic and, adding in my own thoughts to it and saying something that was just not being said. And that is it, guys. Breaking it down. What are your clients saying? What are you always saying? What are people in the groups you're a part of saying? And what is your industry not saying? These are the places to start when you're feeling blocked, when you're feeling all gummed up and you're looking at a blank screen and you can't think of any great ideas. This is where you start. I've got a little rundown of some different, topics that you might use to jog your creativity. If you go to rkainc.com, rkaink.com/content, Check it out. Get the cheat sheet. May you never have writer's block again. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. It's been so awkward, so wonderful. I'll see you later.